Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is another Ethereal Hackathon video from Consensys Labs.
I'm glad you remembered.
I was trying to pull it together. Thanks for joining us. This video is on what makes a winning pitch. We know we're approaching the last week of the hackathon. There's some judging criteria on the site. We'll reference that for a little bit, but this is about what will make a submission both tangible and realistic and winnable from our perspective from Labs. So we'll start off with what the rubric is the judges will be looking at, and Gabriel will walk us through that.
Yeah, rubric is pretty straightforward. You can see it within the bounties where our judging criteria is a little bit different than maybe traditional hackathons. We're really trying to find people who are looking for opportunities, solving problems, finding real customers. So our judging criteria has 3 core criteria and sub-criteria within that, but we're really looking for judging teams based on the people within those teams. So from entrepreneurial spirit to making sure that teams have complementary superpowers. The product would be number 2. So, have you shown that there's product fit? Does this need a blockchain? What artifacts do you have? And then lastly, the potential of this thing that you've created. Did you do your research? Did you find an expert who's bought into this? Have you done some kind of validation mechanism? So that's the judging criteria. Brian, why don't you tell them about what a winning pitch starts to look like?
So we've got 5 general principles for a winning pitch. Many of these are familiar to anyone who's done a lot of pitching, but I think to start off with, a pitch is a story. It's very important to remember you need to take people along with how you got to where you are, not just take them where you ended up. So I think for the way our hackathon bounties are set up, a good way to think about the story is it's an obstacle. It's somebody with an obstacle. It's an insight around how you think that obstacle can be overcome, and it's an advantage that's leverageable by the technology that you're playing with, which is Web3, blockchain kind of technologies. So it's a story about somebody struggling with something and trying to overcome it with an obstacle around DeFi, how we think we can solve it, and why we think blockchain is the right solution. Yeah. What's next?
Next is every pitch, every story needs proof, right? So you need to be able to demonstrate that you've identified a real problem, that these are real people that are experiencing this problem. So can you demonstrate that you've come up with a solution to solve an actual problem? And what does that proof look like? Can you show us who you've engaged with? Can you show us how you've engaged with them? Can you show us how they've responded? So as Brian laid out, you're telling the story. But sprinkled within the story, you want to sprinkle the artifacts, the proof points that show kind of the life cycle of your journey, how you got to where you got to, and why you think this is a solution that solves a real problem. Next, third piece of a winning pitch.
Great stories have supporting actors.
Oh.
Third piece is while your kind of primary story needs to be fairly clear and concise, we need to know what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. We know the way you get there is by talking to a lot of people and finding out a lot of different things. So who else did you talk to? What did you learn from them? How can you demonstrate that you both went some directions and ended up in different directions, and prove to us not only that you came back with an interesting solution, but did your homework and did the groundwork to figure out what wouldn't work to get there. So what else did you learn that helped you get to where you are?
Yeah. Fourth component of a winning pitch or story is a pitch shows the thing, right? So you're actually creating something. Back when I was building our growth engineering team, I used to tell our engineers all the time, the difference between an engineer and an analyst looks at the data after the fact. They see the thing. The engineer created the thing that created the data, right? And so you're all engineers, you're hackers, you're builders, you're entrepreneurs. We want to see the thing that you built. Now, this can come in a lot of different ways, shapes, and forms. Obviously, we want to see your GitHub repository, but we also want to see some of the other artifacts of you starting to think about the actual thing. Are there wireframes? Is there design work? Have you put up a landing page? Does your landing page include an email opt-in? These are the things, the product that shows us that you're starting to think about actually getting out of the building and putting this in the real world, putting this in front of real customers. There's a thing there that we can take a look at.
Yeah, and I'd also say the great thing about showing the thing is it lets you show the vision for the thing.
Exactly.
You can jump ahead, show things that aren't quite there yet, but will be.
Exactly.
And finally, I think the biggest thing out of this, Gabriel and I obviously get a kick out of this. We like pitching, but a pitch is fun.
Yes.
We want to understand why you guys are excited by this and see the excitement, because excitement's contagious. And at the end of the day, all of this is kind of about adding a little bit more momentum to builders building interesting things so that they can keep going. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
You can find more information about this on the website and in the bounty rubrics, and we look forward to seeing the submissions.
We are looking forward to seeing the thing.